and blessings. I appreciate you coming to wherever you had to come to experience this little bit of a presentation. I'm going to call this presentation My Hidden Figures. And I'm also going to call it a TED Triangle Talk, not to be confused with the TED Talks that you might hear about or see online. But I'm going to call it a TED Triangle Talk to kind of pay homage to the TED Triangle, which we came up with, I don't know, a couple decades ago at a company I worked for. And we called it the TED Triangle, where at the top of the triangle there was a T. And, well, you know what? At the top of the triangle there was a T. Second corner was an E. Third corner was a D. We actually had an employee, his name was Ted Horseman. So we just called it the TED Triangle. But the whole thing was, at the top, you start with training. So you train the new employees, and then you evaluate that training so you could further develop that training to train again. And it was just kind of a constant loop or a constant triangle where we would continuously cycle that, train, evaluate, and develop. That being said, kind of getting that out of the way, this whole Hidden Figures idea, or my Hidden Figures idea, is not about me, even though it's about how I'm connected to the folks who are what I'm calling my Hidden Figures. And the idea kind of came about through the movie Hidden Figures and Black History Month. And actually, you know what? I got an email, and somebody said, hey, you know what? You want to start your new year off right? We want to give you some quotes and some words of encouragement from some great people, some great leaders in the community or in the country or in the world. And I was like, sure, that sounds good, so I signed up for the positive quotes that were going to come to me. And strangely, no one looked like me. And I kind of thought, that's cool. I appreciate the words of encouragement. But you know what? I know there are some people out there that encourage me on a regular basis. So for the entire month of February, what I did is I tried to highlight each day. I tried to highlight a different person that I call my hidden figure. And it wasn't necessarily a person. Sometimes it was two people. But my hidden figures. And I went on social media, and that was my thing. Now, on social media, it can be a beautiful thing. And as a matter of fact, there was a beautiful thing that happened February 2017, where a young lady by the name of Christy Smith Jones, on Twitter, she's Miss Kitty Fatal. She and her 5-year-old daughter did just great work where the 5-year-old daughter dressed up like great women of Black history, and it was a beautiful thing. And I respect that. And I just wanted to give her a shout out within this little presentation. But as I said, my thing was a little different. And I kind of thought that some of the people that get highlighted in Black history are people that may be just, like Martin Luther King, great man. I didn't have the pleasure or the blessing to be able to meet with him, to march with him, to interact with him. And not necessarily saying that, one person is better or higher than the other, but in some respect, just a person that may be closer. That if Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King is the pie in the sky, maybe I just need to go upstairs to the neighbor on the second floor and highlight them and tell other folks how that person encouraged me. Now, of course, number one, at least for me in my life, is the Most High, God. That's my hidden figure. That's my not so hidden figure, my obvious figure, and that goes without saying. And then of course, there's family, because you put family first, right? And so the mean queen Janine, it's my lovely wife. The most honorable Elijah Moses is my oldest, and Malcolm Alexander the Great is my youngest. They're my favorites on my phone, and they're my favorites in my life. So they definitely my hidden figures. But as I mentioned, each day on social media, I went through 28 days, and I highlighted different people that I thought had influenced me and had encouraged me, and I thought that they were kind of doing great things. And so I wanted to take this moment to just kind of dig a little deeper and pick out at least 4 folks that I could just highlight within this presentation to maybe give folks an understanding, a better understanding of what went on. If you didn't have a chance to see what happened on Google+, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all the different sites that I was able to get to, then maybe you get maybe a better understanding of it here. And, you know, there's so much stuff that's out there that's going viral. And I just thought, why not this idea? Why can't you just, like, highlight folks in your life for that 1 month? And let me tell you, before I just continue with my first hidden figure that I will highlight today, and I'm going to go through 4 real quick. And I want to tell you that when I went through the entire month, it was a labor of love. And I didn't write things down ahead of time. It's like each day I just kind of took some time during my lunch, and I just thought about who I happened to be highlighting on that particular day. And I can't tell you how much I was encouraged, and how sometimes I was just in tears, just thinking and reminiscing on some of those positive times and some of those great things that we went through and the experiences that we had. And I just wanted to share that. And for what it's worth also, when I did post on all the social media platforms, I used various hashtags. I used hashtag Hidden Figures, My Hidden Figures, Black Lives Matter, Black History Month, Black History Matters. And then even if I had a chance, depending upon the platform, because sometimes you don't have, you know, Twitter only gives you 140 characters, so there's only so much I could do. But on Instagram, where you got more, you know, I tried to make sure that I tagged the people that I thought it might catch on with. You know, Taraji P. Henson, Janelle Monáe, The Real Octavia Spencer, Pharrell, Hidden Figures movie. I tried to tag them, you know, which I did. I did tag them, so I tagged them 28, actually 30 times, 30 different times I tagged them, and I hope that, you know, if it didn't catch on this year, if you didn't get the 30 tags, you know, in 2017, that maybe it will continue in the future. And, you know, maybe this idea will catch on. And again, it's not about me. You know, it's my hidden figures, folks that affected my life, but each one of you, anyone out there listening, watching, or that hears about it, you have a hidden figure. So that's who I'm asking for, your hidden figures. I'm asking you for your hidden figures. How can you tell us about somebody that's important in your life and share that information? But so with that being said, so as I mentioned, you know, my hidden figures, my favorites on my phone, the Mean Queen, Malcolm Alexander the Great, the most honorable Elijah Moses, those are indeed my family, my hidden figures. But the first outside of my family, the first team, the first tag team, the first Jay-Z and Beyonce, the first Barack and Michelle, at least for me, Alan and Elisia Triggs. And now, the way I met them was crazy, but, you know, before I even met them, I saw them on social media. I saw Alan Triggs, who was running for Hamilton County Prosecutor, and I felt his campaign was just great. It was great because I saw it. I hadn't even met him at the time, but I saw his campaign just popping up in the news feed constantly. Other people were just shouting him out, and people were just seemingly continuing to share his name and share that message. And so I wound up going to another big event, and I saw him from a distance, and it was a little odd because I even told him about it, and I told him how I recognized him just from his ear. Just from the back of his ear, I saw him, and I said, hey, that's that guy. And I even went up to him, I told him that story, and it was a beautiful thing. And, you know, it's so much deeper than that, actually, when we got together and we just started talking. But it was a beautiful thing to meet them and how they were just in tune with each other and trying to make that happen, to make him become the Hamilton County Prosecutor. And I told him he did not actually get that position, but in my opinion, he ran a successful campaign because his name was out there, and it was just, in my opinion, a thing of beauty. And, you know, they actually came to another event, and it just, you know, not to put all of their business out there, but, you know, they answered the call when I called unexpectedly, and they just shared so much, and it was so beautiful, and it was with love. So as an example of one of my hidden figures, and again, you have yours. So that's what I'm hoping, that next year we find out who are your hidden figures, and maybe this can go viral. This can be the trending hashtag during Black History Month. But anyway, next hidden figure, and another power couple, Josie Holloman-Adams and Bobby Adams, from the Erika J. Holloman Foundation. And you know, I have a story about each one of the folks that I met, and the story behind Josie and Bobby is that I knew their daughter, and I knew their daughter from an online community called the Walnut Hills High School Black Alumni Network. We called it the Band. And so Erika J. Holliman was on there, and it was just a few of us. It might have been about a dozen of us, and I called us the usual suspects. And I remember I had to be at work at like 4 o'clock in the morning, so there were times when I was just the only one at my job, and being on that social network at that time, it was great comfort. And all the folks that were there, like I said, it was probably a dozen of us that were always there. It seemed like we were just the usual suspects. And we got pretty close, got to be good friends, and I actually met her in person not too long after that at one of the reunions. And I couldn't stay, but I met her, gave her a hug. She's a beautiful person. But then she passed away. She passed away from triple-negative breast cancer. And they've got a website that breaks it down, all about triple-negative breast cancer, and it's the Erika J. Holloman Foundation Inc.org. You can learn more about it there. And just Bobby and Josie just worked tirelessly and lovingly to just raise awareness. And I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I really don't know how they do it, because they do it with so much conviction and passion. And it's just what they're doing. They smiling for Erika. And you know, they may be smiling for Erika, but sometimes I'm crying for them because of just how passionate they are. That is just, it's so beautiful and so loving. And just like Alan and Elisia, this couple, they inspire me. And if you take a moment to check out their website, Erika J. Holloman Foundation Inc.org, you can learn more, which you should. You should learn more and spread the word about triple-negative breast cancer, because it's a bad deal, but they are doing good things. And God bless all my hidden figures, especially them. And my next hidden figure, he goes by Lion X. His name is Lionel Brown, and this guy, he's a photographer, but his photographs are, I mean, it's like artwork. And he's just all over social media. And the pictures, the images that he captures of the events that happen in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is where I'm at and where I'm from, if I didn't live here, I would want to live here, because his images are like artwork. It is amazing. It is visually stunning. And he caught me off guard, you know, and I had seen him online, but, you know, he caught me off guard at a moment when it was real emotional for me. It was emotional for a lot of people. I didn't even know he was there. And it was the funeral of Scandal the Ruckus Man. Big man on campus here in Cincinnati, producer, artist, friend, and just the embodiment of hip hop, not just in Cincinnati, but just anyway, Scandal the Ruckus Man. And so we were at Scandal's funeral, and I had to work, and I couldn't get off, and I was able to just kind of dip through on my lunch, and it was beautiful that, the pastor just opened up the floor and said if family members wanted to say something, and just, I'm getting all into it or whatever. But, the pastor opened up the floor and asked if there was family members that wanted to say something. And I wasn't family. But I had just, again, one of those times, Scandal was sick. Scandal was in the hospital. And, I was able to get away. I took a lunch break, and I went to Scandal's hospital room. And in his room, he was weak. He was in the bed. His family was there. I felt embarrassed. I felt like, man, I probably shouldn't be here. But he welcomed me. He said, come on in, Butch. Come on, would you pray with me? And we prayed. We just prayed. And I don't know Scandal like that. I mean, what does that mean, though? You know what I'm saying? I didn't know somebody well enough to pray with him. That doesn't even make sense. But I hadn't prayed with Scandal. I hadn't gone to church with Scandal. I didn't go to Scandal's house. But I had known Scandal from the Black Family Reunion. I had known Scandal from his shows. I had just known Scandal because just like he is hip-hop, in some ways I am hip-hop. We are hip-hop. We are Cincinnati. And so in his hospital room, we just hugged and prayed. And then come to find out he passed away. And I'm there at his funeral. So I'm coming back to Lionel Brown, right? Coming back to Lion X, right? So I'm at the funeral, and, I'm breaking up, and, and I'm standing in line, and they let me come up there, and I say my piece, and I just tell them all about this story, about how we prayed and how, we wasn't really close, but it was just such a beautiful thing that we got close at that moment. And it was an honor just to be at his bedside and to say a prayer with him. So anyway, so there I am at the funeral, and I'm breaking down, I'm telling the story. And then out of the blue, come to find out, Lion X took a picture of me while I was talking. And it was such an emotional moment, and he captured that. And man, I mean, if you see this man's images, one thing, it's inspiring about the city. But that tore me up. That tore me up. So if you're out there, if you're out and about, if you got a search engine somewhere, search Lion X, Lionx. Check out that man's images, because this is, man, he gets down. But that's another one of my hidden figures. And I got one more for you. And one more, Toni ONeill. Now, I mentioned that I'm here in Cincinnati, Ohio, right? And I don't know if I would say it's a small community because, it's 250,000 people, but I think that there are folks that kind of, in some ways, travel in similar circles. And we may not all travel in the same circle, but I think some of our circles may overlap. And now Toni is in the art world. She comes from an artistic family. Her parents are artists. She's a photographer. She has art on the mind, and she often just thinks differently, which is amazing to me, because she can look at one thing and come up with a different twist on it that I didn't even think of. Not that I had to be the only one thinking about it, but here I am on Facebook, right? I got this job, and the job gives me an iPhone. I'm all excited. This is the first smartphone I've had. This is one of the early iPhones. I'm all excited. And I'm taking pictures, and I'm editing stuff, and I'm posting on Facebook, and I'm just kind of tripping on my own little goofy, artistic, at least that's what I was thinking, my little goofy artistic path. And come to find out, Toni kind of was just noticing it. And I had kind of worked with her in different capacities, but the thing that kind of sent me over the top was that she wanted to do an art show, a month-long art display, and display the artwork and creativity of people in the community that may not be known for artwork. And it was called Second Life. So me, in some scenarios, and in one life, I do tech support. I play music, right? I DJ. But, a lot of folks didn't necessarily know me for photography. And so she collected my work. and put it in a show. And I'm standing there. I have to, attend the opening, and I'm standing there. I'm just like, again, embarrassed. Like, for real, y'all here to see me? Y'all here to see this stuff that I took, these pictures? Really? And in that way, Toy Lynn is able to see, or at that point saw what I did, and she's always seemingly able to see deeper and come from a whole different perspective of creativity that maybe I wasn't even thinking of, or the people that she's dealing with wasn't even thinking of. And so that is why, again, she is another pillar in the community and another one of my hidden figures. But look, I just wanted to just kind of break all that down and tell you this whole concept of my hidden figures. And so I gave you a little sprinkle of it. I hope I didn't take too long. I appreciate your time, your attention. I hope that as much as the most trivial thing seems to go viral, as many different ideas that are out there that just for whatever reason wind up on the Dr. Phil show, wind up on Jerry Springer, wind up on World Star, I promise you, at least for me, this is one of the most rewarding things that I have done in 10, 15 years, if not longer. And I don't want to take away from anything else that I might have done, but let me just kind of reinforce that. Every day in the month of February, I had to take some time and think positively about a person in my life. And, I've heard that before. If you just smile a little bit, but collectively, I got this whole album now of people that I look back on and like, yeah, I remember that. I got to reminisce and think about some positive, joyous things that happened to me. But that is what this is about. This is just an extra step. I put it all online in the month of October, and now I put this presentation together for you, or for us, not for you, not like it's me trying to give you something or whatever. It's us. I put this together. I feel bad saying I, but it's the connection. It's the connection. As I mentioned before, I got to come back around to that and say it's okay to say that. It's okay for me to tell you how these people affected my life. It's okay to say I because I'm asking for your input. These are my hidden figures. I want to know who are your hidden figures. Now I'm going to close this out. And how am I going to close this out? I'm going to close this out. I used to do a radio show back in the 90s, late 80s, the early 90s, and I used to close the show out to try to bring us all together. So I'm going to close it out like this. Stay black till we get back. Stay white. It's all right. Whatever color of the rainbow that you see when you look in the mirror, we're all one race, the human race, under one God. Until we meet again, my brothers, my sisters, peace. I love you. I'm out. Assalamu alaikum.